Hey, are you looking at getting better book covers? Are you concerned that your cover may not be cutting the mustard? Well, in today's live stream, we're going to discuss bad book covers, good book covers, and everything in between. So, stay tuned. Welcome to Self-Publishing with Dale. If you're interested in DIY publishing and mastering that, then make sure you click subscribe and hit the bell icon next to it to get notifications on all my latest videos. We're not live, right? We're not live. So in any event, boy, it's been a little bit of a cluster muck over this end of the woods here. You can see the office is completely different. No more green screen. You guys are actually literally looking at me from my desktop. Now, please, if you could, bear with me for just a moment. If you can hear me loud and clear, I need you to just drop it inside the comments while I get the pop-up ready here. So, what's going on, the Moonchen King? Welcome. Welcome indeed. So, I'm going to open up my handy-dandy little mobile device, and I'm going to get this pop-up chat open so that way I can talk with you guys as we're going along. Once again, today's theme is going to be about book covers. So, hopefully you guys are ready to talk about this. I need a little bit of participation, a little group participation. So if you've got a book cover that you would like to take a look at, and maybe we can all just chat about it. And for some reason, my copy URL, here we go. Now we're cooking on the front burner, as they'd say. We heard you over here, man. We heard you over her, man? I'm not sure if that was just a typo there. Good to see you, Anthony. I'm glad you popped in there, buddy. Paste. Alrighty. Maybe pop-up chat's going to come out here. All right, there we go. Now we're in business. Yeah, now I can see you guys. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about book covers, but in the interim, I think it's kind of cool that we just kind of break the ice. Just want to see if you guys, what you've been up to, how things are going in your neck of the woods, what kind of projects that you have on the front burner. So tell me what you're doing. And if you're watching this later on when it's not live, I don't know why I'm wearing this. It's not like I can hear anything. When you're watching this later on and not in live stream, still drop something within the comments. I'd like to hear what projects you're working on. If for some reason you have a book on Amazon, I give you permission to drop the link in the comments. I know that sounds crazy. Fair warning. Okay, I'm gonna give you fair warning. YouTube will put you over into my filtered spam folder. I will approve all appropriate links, all right? There are exceptions to the rule. I don't want anybody throwing any kind of foul word books in there. I'm still trying to keep things family friendly within this channel. So this is my opportunity I'm giving to you. What are you working on right now? I want to see what's going on. Is there a book that you are trying to promote? Leave it there. I am literally giving you the keys to the kingdom. Drop it inside the comments here. Now, for those of you that are talking right now, I might have to approve you over here in the chat if you actually put it there, or you can even just tell me the name of your book and the author that's underneath. Now, don't worry. I think we're in a safe spot. If for some reason you're hiding your protected niche, or you're kind of going, my precious, no one gets to see this. All right, that's totally cool. I understand. Yeah, spell check got to you. Thank you for doing this. Heriberto, thank you. I really do appreciate the comment. We will get to the book covers here shortly. I just want to kind of warm things up. Something that I learned from my brother who actually runs a semi-successful Twitch channel. He always says, don't jump into things right away. He's like, a lot of people aren't going to show up till about 15 to 20 minutes into things. So I'm anticipating that we're going to have a little bit of fun today. What we're going to do is we're going to troll about on Amazon, and let's see if we can find some good book covers, and let's see if we can find some not so good book covers. I believe I still have at least a dozen to 2 dozen bad book covers I was saving for future videos, but I've kind of decided that I might not do that anymore because it's getting more and more so lately that I'm having a lot of viewers that are very concerned that I'm going to throw their book onto one of these bad book cover shows, and I don't ever want to put you guys in that position. So with that being said, I highly doubt I'll be doing any more of the cheeky, funny, bad book cover segments. I know it's endearing and some people enjoy it and other people don't. With that being said, today we're going to be talking more in a constructive sense. So if you happen to feel a little squirrely and you're wanting to get a little bit of an evaluation, I highly recommend that you just go ahead and drop me a link and I will see about approving that. I'm going to move over here to the pop-up chat and see what's going on. Let's see here. MFC Books. Hello, Dale. Roger from UK here. Hey, it's good to see you back, Roger. Awesome. BR3, it's good to see you here. Didn't we run into each other in another chat? I think it was Emeka's chat. That's right, my boy Emeka Osai. Emeka and I, man, we got to chatting it up yesterday. If you guys didn't catch his full-on rant, I think it was the day that he posted that. I get him fired up after we're done doing video chats. He gets all riled up and he said to me, he goes, well, what'd you think of the video? And I'm like, dude, it was awesome. I always love hearing him just go off. And he's a very passionate person and it reflects in the videos that he puts out. Let's see here. Blair, thank you, Dale. You responded to my question via email and gave me great comfort. Blair, please, I thank you. If for some reason, people, if you reach out to me via email and I don't answer you right away, there's probably something wrong. Your email might have gotten into my spam folder. You might have sent it to the wrong email address. So here's where I'm gonna say it right now. It's dale@selfpublishingwithdale.com. You send it on over to me. I try to make it my best practice to answer all emails within the first 24 hours. Now, as business starts to pick up, as you guys can imagine, 1,000 subscribers is a lot. And if even a 10% sent me emails on a daily basis, I probably would never get anything done. So for right now, I'm just telling you guys, just send out, and gals, excuse me. If I ever say guys, please don't get offended. I mean guys as in you, the gang, the viewers, the subscribers, the people that I'm speaking to. So at any rate, if you send it to me though, I will be answering within the first 24 hours. Now, if you send me a cavalcade of questions and great ones, then most likely I'm gonna probably have to let you know, limit it to about 1, 2, no more than 3 questions. Otherwise we'll have to get via video chat and I would be happy to speak with you one-on-one. Let's see here, moving further down, Willie Estrada, good to see you back. Thank you very much for popping in here. BR3 says, man, I don't mind. I can actually send you my first book and I designed the cover myself. Awesome, cool. By all means, I always am eager to accept any books, and if for some reason you want to evaluate it on air, just let me know. If you don't, just say, hey, don't evaluate this. Most instances, I try to clear things like that through you first before I start throwing you under the bus and going, yeah, we're going to go ahead and talk about, BR3's recent release. Well, look at this. No, that's not my style. Let's see here. Willie's coming off with a good, can we ask off questions while we wait? Yes, please. Yes, this is, as we're warming up, you can see I'm already kind of fired up and feeling pretty good. I want you guys, and I encourage you guys, any kind of questions that you might have, fire it off. This is a perfect time for us to get engaged in talking. As you guys know, Wednesdays is not my normal time because I have some plans that were a little bit out of the norm for my wife and I kind of had to switch my Wednesday programming to Thursday, and I pulled Thursday to Wednesday. So, speaking of, I don't know what I have in the can for tomorrow, so... But anyway, questions, I'm open up for it. Yep, and my name is Brenz. Awesome, very good. Brenz, I'm going to try to remember that. Off topic, great, man. Bren says, the book is dead. I don't mind if you use it as an example. Awesome. Yeah, please drop it on in here. Off topic. Yeah, please. If you want to go off topic, for sure. Let's go ahead. Let's have some fun. Let's make this a conversation instead of me yelling into a camera. Hey, my boy and my brother, Dog Dad Official, my boy Scott J. Marshall. You guys check out the recent interview. This past Friday, I had a great conversation, and he is He is a person that pulls no punches, and he was not afraid to tell you that he wasn't very successful in his first year of self-publishing. But going into his second full year, he's got a bright future ahead of him. So make sure you take a little time, watch the interview with Scott. He pours some great information and great value, and he shows you that this is the thing. It's almost the antithesis of some of these videos that you see from some of these larger YouTubers that are like, this guy made 10 to 20 grand in the first 30 days. That's wonderful. But what about the people that struggle? There are far more people that struggle. So I want to hear, why are they struggling? What happened? How can I avoid it so I can be that next guy in the 10 to 20 grand in the first 30 days? Let's see here. I normally make my own book covers. Anthony, that's awesome. Very, very good. If you find that you are cash strapped, sometimes you're left with little options than to make your own book covers. And that's pretty much what led me to doing my own book covers. First of all, I'm a little bit of a, I don't know, I'm a bit of an artist at heart. I love to do my own stuff. I like to write my own stuff, and I enjoy to actually put my own graphic design covers together. With that being said, I've made some real terrible book covers, and I'd be even happy to share some of them with you. And heck, some of them are still live on the market. And I make no qualms with there's a good reason why some of them are drawn flies at best. And but I ended up teaching myself how to use GIMP because it is a free open source software, and I highly recommend those of you that are cash strapped. GIMP is great for designing your own book covers, and maybe we'll go ahead and cover a little bit of that today. And as we're kind of going into things, I can show you what I'm able to do with GIMP, and I can just take a cover, use the layout, and design my own thing. And also I can be able to show you where you can grab your images as well. We're going to move further down here. Just want to let you know that you do a good job keeping us informed. Much success to you always and your family. Vashity's World, thank you. I appreciate the kind words, and I really, when I put out the 1,000 subscribers, thank you. I wasn't fishing for compliments, rest assured, although there was probably 3 people that disagreed and put the thumbs down on it. Love that. And please keep it coming. I'm not going to discourage you from putting thumbs down because it's called engagement, and I won't ever discourage you from that. But in any event, with that being said, Vashity, I really do appreciate the kind words, and I appreciate that you guys recognize that I put a lot of time and attention into this. But it should be noted that with that being said, and this is something I try to preach to you, the viewer, is try to focus on that one thing. And here's a prime example. I'll tell you, over the last month, I focused on putting daily uploads to YouTube, as well as I'm developing a full course called DIY Publishing that I'll be doing a beta launch, if all works well, here at the beginning of October 1st to be exact, and you'll be the first to know. With that being said, some of my self-publishing business has taken a dip, and that's not a good thing. I'm just going to be frank, and I'm going to be forward with you that when you've heard the old proverb where they say, the man that chases 2 rabbits gets none. Well, it's starting to happen like that. Granted, YouTube's starting to move up, but the self-publishing business is dropping down. But I am going to assure you on this, that starting next week, I have 0 excuses. I'm going to be publishing my next fitness book. I'm shooting for earliest December 1st. I've already pretty much have the rough draft in the can. I got to start talking to my editor about getting this stuff rocking and rolling. So, should I pay $80 to Fiverr to format my book? Is it really complicated to publish a book on Createspace? Joyce, that is a great question. The very first thing you need to do is think about time versus money. I say this quite a bit. If you got to kind of weigh it. Okay, do I have more time or do I have more money? If you don't have much time, then the $80 might be worth having that person formatted on Fiverr. Make sure that this person on Fiverr has a good track record. I've heard too many horror stories, and I've even had some myself on Fiverr that I have not been very happy with. But conversely speaking, I've had wonderful services done through Fiverr before. And some of them aren't $5. Sometimes it can go upwards in the neighborhood of something like $80. So just be selective with it and maybe communicate your needs with that person ahead of time so that you're on the same page. That's what I always do with any time I hire somebody for any of my businesses. I want to make sure that I openly express my exact expectations. That way, if they fall short, I can go back and say, hey, look, you agreed on XYZ. You did not meet XYZ. How are you going to address this issue? I think that I'm very fortunate that I spent a great majority of my healthcare career as an activities director in a managerial role that I could become tactful at some of the things I was able to communicate with my team and know when, it's okay to be confrontational, but in the same instance, do it with a sense of empathy, understanding that, hey, look, life might get in the way. Something might happen in a person's life, so you have to kind of at least see where they're at, but also reaffirm exactly what the expectations were set ahead of time. So I know that's kind of going off a different path. Is it really complicated to publish on Createspace? No. In fact, I really truly believe Createspace is far easier than what some people would make it out to be. As I've shared in previous live streams and some of my videos, a great majority of all global publication profits come from print books. And in fact, actually, I think, Anthony, you were on one of the recent ones that we had discussed those numbers. Let me look inside here. I always carry this number near me because it was done by the American Association of Publishers. So Joyce, hopefully you're still with me. Looks like you are. Hardback books makes up about 31.7% of all global profits over the past year, and paperback makes up 40%. So that is a broad sense of terms. That's including self-publishing. That's including the large publishing houses. Unfortunately, I need to do a little bit more investigation and figure out what is the percentage of self-publishing to large publishing houses, because it's starting to lean more in favor, and this is anecdotal, lean more in favor of self-publishing because it's becoming easier than ever, and Createspace is primary example. However, let's not avoid the really big opportunity in KDP paperback. I am really beginning to like it, and in fact, since I've done, I would say I've published about 15 books, paperback books, and these are just paperback specific books. I've published about 15 on there, and literally out of hundreds of Kindle books, the income that I have derived from KDP, probably about a third of it this past month came from paperback. And that is literally incredible. Now, mind you, some of the Kindle books that I did, like I said, not paying attention as well as I should be. And some of them are pretty old, and I just kind of gave up on them a while ago. But my success ratio is starting to increase considerably on paperback when it comes to KDP. I'm excited about the prospect of what they're going to be opening up in the near future. There's some people that are kind of doing the sky's falling, you shouldn't have all eggs in one basket. That is very true, and that's one of the reasons why I typically don't use KDP Select. But to a certain extent, there might come a point, I believe, this is speculation on my behalf, that Createspace will get absorbed into the KDP machine. So we'll see in due time. I have a question. Willie said, okay, Willie, I'm coming down through the list. I'm sorry. What's the deal with book rankings, Dale? I often sell a book and the ranking doesn't blip. Is there an error in their system, or does their algorithm take this sale into account? Man, I tell you what, I'm open up to speculation on this one. The ranking system is running afoul because between the fact that they intermix KDP Select program books with non-KDP Select program books. So they mix the fact that you can get on Kindle Unlimited and not sell a single copy but be a bestseller. That to me has always kind of been a head scratcher. I'm kind of like, well, they're not really selling anything, so why is that influencing rank? And then, they're not selling a single book, but yet they're getting all these page flips, yet here they are taking over all the bestseller lists while a vast majority of us are, getting scraps. We're literally like selling, maybe a few copies per day, and here we are, sucking tail fumes at this point, for lack of better words. We're at the bottom, and we're kind of like, I just sold a dozen copies of a book today, yet I'm ranked at 60,000, and this one hasn't sold a single copy, yet it's polling 5,000 in the bestsellers rank. So that is, unfortunately, I really wish I could be able to tell you, but I think Amazon only knows the answer to that one. I really truly believe sometimes it's almost like they don't care, and that sounds like a little bit of a pessimistic, especially a pessimistic view coming from me, but it's true. I think sometimes it just comes down to, yeah, well, we'll take care of the things that, we really care about. So let's see here, moving down. Joyce, find Emeka's video on formatting. Buy yourself something good with those $80. Brenz puts up a pretty good point. He does have a great one on formatting, as well as I do have I believe, and feel free to drop me an email. I actually have a number of actual, let's see here. This is going to be mind-blowing for you guys here. I had announced yesterday that I did 100 days of uploads and I have 1,000 subscribers. But, fun fact, I actually have over 305 videos in my YouTube library. That means with a little over 100 of these videos being public, there's a number of them that are private and quite a few of them that are unlisted. And the reason why I unlisted it is because it doesn't match my current brand, but it still has valuable information with them. A lot of the comedy videos I put to private just because I kind of want to distance myself from some of that shtick. But yes, agreed. You could probably save the $80 if you want to learn the skill. I'll tell you that you can give me a 10,000 word book and I can format that within 10 to 20 minutes easily. It just becomes a skill that you're really good at. I was working with my mother earlier on one, and she was blown away that I was able to take one and just flip it in 10 minutes. Let's see here, scooting on down. Will do, thanks a bunch. Question, is paid advertisement necessary in order to make it to stay bestseller list? It's not a necessity, but I'll tell you this much. It certainly helps. It certainly helps. If there was one platform that I would just say it's just, it is dead simple and it's dirt cheap. My two favorite combinations, all right? The only way it could be getting any better is free advertisement at that point. So I said in a recent video about Dave Chesson, the Kindlepreneur's 5-day Amazon marketing services course. I highly recommend that you get it because the whole entire course is 2 hours. He actually has a speed manipulation on that, and you can go up to 2x. So I watched it in about 50 minutes, I think was the total time, and valuable information. Yes, he does lightly sell you on KDP Rocket. I just had the first chance to run it today and love it already. I bought the tool and I will be posting a review about it after I do a full case study based on the information I get for that and apply it over into my Amazon marketing services ads. So Willie, I recommend at $1 a day, hopefully you can kind of, run some ads on that. Just $1. And yeah, it will help out. It really does. I took a brand, literally, I would say it was in the millions, and it was a freelance writer's project that I did, so a ghostwritten one on, I think it was a clean romance cowboy book. And it literally was in the millions. And I started running ads to it, and it literally revived it back into the upper echelon of below 100,000, which if you can get some books, a number of books in and below the 100,000 rank these days, that is going to make you a nice little chunk of change. It just depends on where you have your pricing at. But I started running ads towards that and breathed new life into it. I have another vegan brand that it wasn't doing jack. I changed out the covers, I changed out the ad copy and the book description. I kept the title the same, of course, and lo and behold, boom, it started to really move up, and then I ran ads to it, and then here's the funny thing is the audiobook started doing really, really well. In fact, I even interviewed Pam Rossi, who was the narrator for the vegan book series that I had put together. Let's see here. I'm titling my book Eat for Your Species Type, a takeoff on Eat on Your Blood Body Type. Is that a good title? It gets me kind of going, if you can give me a better idea as to a subtitle, if you have along to that. Otherwise, it's too ambiguous me reading it here in chat. So Alicia has 5 stars. Okay. $80. Oh, you're talking about the Fiverr person, I imagine. Yeah, that's great. Awesome. 10 words at 10,000 words in 10 minutes. Fantastic. Yeah, it comes with practice. It's funny. Sometimes I get to meeting new people out and about and some networking events, and they'll say, oh, well, what do you do for a living? I was just like, I'm an online entrepreneur. Trust me, guys. If you go and do this business and you start to say I'm an author, people start gushing and they want you to start, and it just gets really embarrassing. You're kind of like, oh. So I just stick with I'm an online entrepreneur. And then when some people want to kind of go further down that path, that's when I say, yeah, I publish books. And then they go, oh, you publish books, and they want to know what kind of books. But I just keep it really, really simple. But at any rate, in talking to some people, I tell people I don't have a 9-to-5 job. And sometimes I don't even think I have a job because I love what I do. And it's because I spend quite a bit of time doing this, and I'm able to practice, and I've pumped out hundreds upon hundreds of publications, and especially in paperback, because that's where the money's at here, folks. If you ever hear me communicate anything to you, paperbacks, love it. Easy to make, great to make a good profit on. All right, moving forward here. Short book, less than 40 pages, awesome. How long is the book? Formatting is not that hard to charge that much. Yeah, it's true. They might have really, really good systems. Sometimes it's supply and demand, and if people can keep on buying a gig for $80, then so be it. I hope if I were to hire somebody for $80, I would have a full novel that I'm giving to them for $80, and they have that thing formatted like it's immaculate. It better look freaking amazing. Everything from mirrored margins to full justification, as well as perfectly placed pictures within my book, as well as the DPI being 300 DPI, things like that. So there's so many metrics, especially if I'm going to spend some money. I sense a scam. I guess it just depends. I wouldn't call it a scam necessarily. It's just once again, supply and demand. If people are willing to purchase it for that amount. I mean, let's look at it this way. We're going to go off on a little tangent here. My wife, hopefully we can get her onto a stream one of these times. She discovered on sometime, it was like a year or two ago, that people were buying used socks on eBay. Yep, they were buying used socks because it's a fetish. Now, you guys are probably going to go, oh, well, that's not a big deal, right? Weird niches. Here we go. No, they want used socks, and they were spending anywhere from 10 to 80 to 100 to more than that on used socks, and it couldn't be washed. It had to have some stank on it, and people were buying these socks. So I guess it just really comes down to what people see and perceived value, where you might think it's a scam. To other people, they're looking at that and going, well, yeah, okay, it's worth it. And the person who's providing the service, they probably feel their value is at $80. There are even more. Ooh, excuse me. I just ate some popcorn before we got on. There are even more expensive services out there, and you just got to see exactly what they're willing to deliver for that. More people publishing equals more competition, and less money. Create your own niche equals more money. Yes, you're correct. If you can really establish yourself, yeah, sure, you can find the most profitable niches, but the key is you got to offer a unique value proposition, something that tells the audience what I have is unlike anything you've ever seen. And it's one thing to say it, it's a totally different thing to do it, because we can see a number of people out there saying, well, my diet is the next best thing to sliced bread and peanut butter and jelly, and then somebody opens up the book and they're like, well, this is just an Atkins diet, so if you can, you need to really think about that and sitting down and putting your own unique spin. Sure, you got your own unique voice. All right, $80, that's your marketing budget right there. Yeah, $80, I'll tell you what I can do with $80. And I'll tell you, I can probably blow through that in a day, but I can easily triple that money. Half on KDP Select, half on not. Okay, really, wow. I wish I knew more about this. This is my first book. Joyce, if this is your first book, congratulations, first of all, on getting that out there. First book is always the toughest one. It's going to get easier as time goes on. Don't get yourself overwhelmed with some of the minute details, because every now and then I'm discussing some advanced situations and some advanced scenarios. So it may not apply to you. The most important thing is you got the first book out of the way and start to tweak it as you go along. So it's okay. Everybody's been a newbie at some point, and as I've shared in previous streams before, I consider myself still a newbie. I've only been about 4 years into the business. I just study it a lot more than some people do. I really am a student of the game, and this coming week, I am really deep diving into some studying. I actually have 4. That's right. 4 different interviews. I'm going to be doing the next month's worth of interviews. I've got a top 100 Amazon author that I'm going to be interviewing. I've got a YouTuber who also has her own fiction brand. I'll be talking to my boy, Emeka. We're going to get him on. We're going to talk a little bit more about his experience in outsourcing. And there was a fourth one. I can't remember. Sorry if somebody's watching this and you're the interview. It's slipping my mind right now. And we're going to get to the book covers here shortly. So if you guys are just tuning in, some of you guys are lurking about, I'm going to cover some of these questions, and then we're going to go over into some bad book covers. I need to dig into my desktop. I can't remember where I placed these book covers at. Let's see here. Dale's got a lot of good videos to help you out. Yes, I got a ton of them, and I think it always surprises people when they ask a question and I just drop a link to a video. Rest assured, it's not me trying to be rude to you. I don't expect for everybody to watch every single one of my videos. I have daily uploads. My wife doesn't even watch all the videos, and she gets to hear a lot of them being recorded. My own mother hasn't seen all of my videos, and that's not me trying to be like, oh, nobody watched all my... No. I create so much content on here because A, it's a challenge for me to put up the YouTube videos and create the content and create unique content, and as well, it also challenges me to learn more about the self-publishing business. That way I can share this information with you, and you can hopefully grow your business from it. Because that's ultimately where I'm happy, is to seeing some of these success stories like the William Mays. William is just a prime example of somebody who had a first book, best case scenario, his becoming a bestseller coming out the gates. He's fired up. He's working on his second book. He's going to be releasing in time for the holidays. So I'm excited for him. ACX is the one thing that's breathing life into my publishing, probably because it's outside Amazon and iTunes. Yes, ACX, I can't stress enough that Audiobook Creation Exchange has something awesome going on. Now, do I agree with the royalty structure? And in fact, I'll be looking into other audiobook options, and I will be sharing that here on this channel. But unfortunately, it's one of those projects that's going to kind of have to sit on the back burner for right now until I can kind of stabilize a lot of my business and, move forward. But Audiobook Creation Exchange is amazing. There are some people that don't make a dime in Kindle or on Createspace or paperback in general, but then they go to audiobook and they crush it. So I would recommend to you, if you find that you are, first of all, A, cash-strapped, and B, time-strapped, look into a 50-50 author split. Now, you are going to be parting ways with half of your earnings. However, I really think that, if you're needing some cash, this is probably one of the best ways to kind of bootstrap your way to either A, getting some earnings from the audiobook, so then you can pump it back into getting a graphic design artist for your cover, or getting it into Amazon marketing services, or you can even go to the next level of Facebook ads or YouTube ads or even Google AdWords, so on. All right, Joyce said, oh yes, a diet and detoxification handbook. Joyce, money. Right there. Right as soon as you said that, immediately I looked at diet and detoxification handbook. Boom. I know what your book's about. Now I'm kind of going, now I want to check it out. So your title draws me in because it's kind of it's a irreverent spin on something. And even then, it kind of eat what? Your species? I think eat and species. You put it in one sentence and I'm kind of going, come again? So excellent play. Well played. I'd love to hear how it turns out for you. Paperback is best. Yes, can't wait. Gonna lecture and seminar and sell books on site. Good idea. Excellent idea. I can't recommend enough that if you're doing lectures and seminars, come loaded with books. If you can, it's best to probably come with too many books than not enough books at all. Now, don't put yourself in debt over it, but I would recommend that you come with at least 10 to 20 books. And if for some reason you run out of books, bust out your Createspace account, get it on a mobile device, and start to scroll through it and get people to get their information. You can be able to run a credit card through PayPal and have it immediately shipped to their house. Oops, meant on site. Just wrapped up filming. Hi, Dale and chat people. I mentioned Kim. Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, I was just talking about you, Kim, here, which I'll be interviewing Kim this next week. I'm excited about actually talking about her, and we're going to be doing some collaborations of sort, and I'm excited. Kim here is awesome. She's sassy, as I said to her before, so looking forward to that. At any rate, my niche is simple but radical health info. Health, fitness, and dieting has treated me well. It has treated me well, but I'll tell you, it was mean to me when I first got into the business. My first, couple tries at the fitness books, I tell you, I was lucky if I was breaking $30 per month on a single publication across the board. That's including all the paperback, and I didn't try out audiobook right away, so it was paperback and Kindle at that time. But hang in there. You may have to kind of set up roots into there and start to build around that particular flagship book that you have. But eventually, if you really just keep at it and produce some high quality books, people are going to come to you in droves. So I'm excited for you. That's really, really cool. And kudos to you on a side note. I think that there is a need, and especially here in the United States, for health, fitness, and dieting. A lot more people need to be educated. Now, I'm not sure what your information is going to be about, but I am sure it has the person's best interests at heart, and that's the most important thing. And actually, I had an interview today, live in person, with James Ranson, and James and I were talking a little bit about nonfiction books, and of course, citing sources and so on and so forth, and a liability standpoint. That is going to come out the day after tomorrow on Friday, James Ranson. So you guys make sure you mark your calendars. In about another 6 minutes now, I'm going to jump into the bad book covers and good book covers, and we're going to kind of talk shop. I need to make sure to close out my Gmail here. All right, so let's see here. When you're just out on ACX 50/50, but if you can after that pay up front for the work. Yes, agreed. Anthony brings up a good point. If you've got good quality work, I would highly, highly recommend, if I had it to do over again, I would have paid the finished price per hour for some of my narrators. So that way it was just a one and done. Pam probably would have made a great amount of money up front. And this is with her books, her particular ones. She hasn't done any of my personal fitness brand. If I had paid her up front, over the long term, she would have been paid that, money, tenfold. And she has a contract with me for the next 6 years for most of the books that I did with her. So, if you can do the finished price per hour, don't be sticker shock. I'm going to tell you, finished price per hour for a narrator, it can be steep. But remember that just because your book is an hour or 2 hours long doesn't mean that it took them an hour or 2 hours to produce that. There is a lot more involved when it comes to producing audiobooks. May I send it to you for a review? Yes, Joyce, kick it on over towards me. I have to warn you ahead of time that I don't have Amazon reviewing privileges. I think I've shared this a few times on this channel, but I think it bears worth in visiting again is about a couple of years ago, this is 2015, I was involved in some review swaps with some people. And at that time, it was okay. It was encouraged. But in the same instance, people knew that Amazon was like, no, Amazon does not like review swaps. And there were a number of people that got busted. And in that busting, what ended up happening was guilt by association. So I had some of these reviews that were being pulled from my books, and next thing I know it, my reviews disappeared. So all that to say this is I'd be happy to review it and just give you just an open criticism via email, constructive, that is. And I also, if I like a book good enough, I'll post it over on Goodreads. So if you guys find me on Goodreads, that's typically where I'll try to post a lot of my reviews. I read a lot of books. I read a lot. And I'm amazed that I get the time to do it. Right now, I'm stuck on Chris Fox. Chris Fox is a great self-publishing expert. and I love his information. It's very solid. Right now, I'm looking at relaunching. I think it's called Relaunch Your Novel or something like that. And great read. It's the second one I've read in his series, so can't recommend Chris Fox enough. Yep, we're buds. You know it. Oh no, Amazon review jail. Amazon's crazy strict with reviews. Yes. In fact, this is one of the reasons why I've said over the past couple of years, actually, as long as I've had YouTube up, is review gathering should be an ancillary portion to your business. Yes, you should get reviews, but no, you shouldn't do it to the extent that we used to do it back in the day. That used to be the be all end all. You launched your book, and the very first thing was get as many reviews as you possibly can. I got to tell you that should be a secondary portion to your business. And the reason is I shared it in a recent video that even review exchanges, not to be confused with review swaps, review exchanges were when you would reach out to an established Amazon reviewer and you would say, hey, I'll provide you a complimentary copy in exchange for an honest review. Cannot do that anymore. In fact, even in that video I shared the exact verbatim email that they sent to me stating they no longer want that. In fact, they will pull down reviews that state I received a complimentary copy in exchange for a review. If you send a complimentary copy to someone, you cannot ask them for a review. Okay? And I say that with, about as honest as possible. It sucks. Now, will Amazon catch you if you say, hey, can you give me a review? Maybe, maybe not. But it's going to be your luck that you're going to run into some Amazon reviewer that is, he asked me for a review. I'm going to report him. Here's the email. And then you're out. And then, you're getting banned and you're getting removed. And I don't want you to worry about things like that. The thing that you need to be worrying about is producing good quality work, adjusting the work that you have on there that's not doing so well, changing out the keywords, changing out your cover, things like that are going to really help move the needle in your business. And reviews, yes, are definitely great. But let's just face it, at this point, Amazon's so strict on it. Now, if you get reviews off the platform, hey, knock yourself out. Goodreads is probably a great way to get it in there. And here's the nice thing is Goodreads is actually an Amazon-owned company. And there are some people that will leave reviews over on Amazon or on Goodreads that will go to Amazon and vice versa. And thankfully, I'm able to still use my Goodreads account and put my reviews up. Let's see here. Man, you guys are on fire today. I'm pretty excited. My brother's not here today. What gives? Let's see here. How can I get it to you? It's short. You'll like it. I promise not published. Just fine to forward. Joyce, you can send it over to Dale at selfpublishingwithdale.com. Feel free if it's something short, you can probably just email it, or you can even just put like a Dropbox or OneDrive or Google Drive, anything like a downloadable link, and I'll be happy to go ahead and get there. Book covers, brand your colors, font, make titles big enough to read, make the covers seem like a promise to the buyer. Yes, we got to get to the book covers now. Let me just kind of scan through things here because I'm going to probably just peek over here onto my chat. Hey, what's going on, Scorp? It's good to see you. Hey, Dale, sorry if you've answered this before, but do you get your covers from Fiverr or Upwork? I have never done it from Upwork. Let me think. No, never done it from Upwork because there was the brief period before Upwork that it was Odesk. And of course, before they merged, it was Elance as well. And I only ever did freelance writing on there. I did get quite a few covers done over on Fiverr. There were a couple of great cover designers on Fiverr, and there still are actually. There's one, her name's Angie. And Angie lives in Mexico, I believe, and hers is called eBook Covers. It might be ebook_covers. She's one of the top rated ones, and I think her service is up to $10 now for the base services. I can't express nice things about that. But herein lies the issue is when you do get that kind of a service done and you see that there's hundreds and thousands of reviews or sales, you're going to get a cookie cutter cover. It's just a fact of life. But if you're looking at trying to DIY yourself through the process, then sometimes, get yourself at least a placeholder, a passable cover, until you can kind of come up with the funds to invest in a more qualified graphic designer. I wouldn't recommend doing your own, but desperate times call for desperate measures. If you are a graphic designer, do that. There was an exception to this rule. I know a good friend of mine got his covers done, and I had to kind of take him aside and was like, your friend's a graphic designer, right? Oh, yeah. You probably should look somewhere else, because this would go literally on my bad book covers videos. This is not good. It was just a weird mixture of color, 3-4 different fonts. It was a almost erotica style looking cover when it shouldn't have been erotica at all. So yeah, that's the important thing, is sometimes getting a graphic designer is half the battle, but the other half the battle is getting a graphic designer who's qualified to do ebooks. All right, so meant to review just to tell me if it's any good, not necessarily looking for your endorsement. Awesome, very good. A lot of people are still preaching get reviews, and I've been arguing that reviews should be your number one focus. They're great, but not an awesome strategy. Yes, bingo, yes. It shouldn't be your number one focus. And for those of you that are writers out there, really, you need to be writing. And for those of you that are just publishers out there, like my good boy Emeka, you need to be focusing on getting good quality writers and putting together good quality content and marketing and promoting. There's so much involved in this business. You're going to have to wear many, many hats. And worrying about getting reviews anymore, I'm telling you, just stop it. Just don't worry about that type of stuff. But don't entirely ignore it, if that makes any kind of sense. Please give me your email address to send it to. Looks like you already got it. It's Dale at selfpublishingwithdale.com. And it's just easy to remember. Just remember selfpublishingwithdale.com. That's my website, and just add Dale at the beginning of it. I pay no attention to getting reviews at this time. It'll come when it comes. Yes, Anthony, you're my boy. You're my boy. I just want everybody to tell, no, Anthony's my boy here, because he understands, yeah. It's going to come when it should. And if you just give a gentle call to action at the very end, remember, if you ever put anything within your book, you can't try to influence the review. So you can't say something, and it sounds kind of crazy. Another friend of mine had expressed that he got his pulled down because he said, if you enjoyed my book, could you please leave a review? Couple things were wrong. A, if you enjoyed it, well, what if the person hated it? Okay. The other thing is you need to ask for an honest review. So if you ever do a call to action within your book, say, hey, now that you finished reading this book, I definitely would love your open feedback. Just drop a review over at X destination, and there's actually a way that you can get a URL specific to your Amazon landing page, or even Goodreads, so on and so forth. But either way, that is probably the most neutral way of saying things. So try to think of yourself as being super politically correct in asking things, and when you can do that, I think you can kind of fly under the radar. Because sometimes you got to remember, if a person's finishing up a book inside their Amazon Kindle reader, the very first thing that happens when you flip through the last page, it pops up and it asks for a review anyways. It does the same thing in Audible for audiobooks, which, by the way, I can post Audible, books on audiobooks. So that's really crazy thing. But any event, so that's on reviews. Hopefully we can kind of move forward. I'm already 5 minutes past what I said we were going to start it up. Let's see here. I feel like not just any graphic designer will be qualified to design a book cover. It's a different kind of sell. Yeah, you got it. Not any graphic designer can do it. I actually had a very experienced graphic designer do a couple of my covers before, and she is a sweetheart. I'm not going to throw her under the bus. She was really willing to kind of learn, but at that point, I didn't need a graphic designer who was willing to learn. I needed a book cover that was willing to, that was going to sell. And unfortunately, the book cover that I got and I used hers, unfortunately, I went from having book sales like this, it was moderate, I was getting probably about 3 to 6 purchases per day on this particular one, to none. The market said right away, we don't like that cover. So I immediately returned it back to the old one within the first 30 days to bump the sales back up, and it was incredible. Book covers really make a huge, huge difference. And ES Hart says, congratulations on 1,000+ subscribers. I think you deserve a whole lot more. Thank you. I really That's so awesome to you say. We're going to keep at it. And the nice thing is, if you guys haven't noticed inside the chat, all right, this is my shameless self-plug, and I'm not going to sit here and start begging for money. I officially have Super Chat. Super Chat is available, and Super Chat is something where you are able to make donations towards this channel, and it will put you at the top of the feed. You can be able to say some nice little comments, and you'll be up there. And it's not going to be anything mandatory. I think in due time, as the following continues to grow and people have questions, I'm probably going to start to focus more time and attention on the questions that are done through Super Chat. So if you are wanting to get my attention, Super Chat's probably one of the best ways to do that. Canva works pretty good too. Yes, Canva was one of the ones I plugged in my free book cover design video. So if you're cash strapped and you're really kind of wanting to find some good pre-made templates, look at that one. And Derek Murphy actually has a fantastic free downloadable zip file for a full course on doing your own book covers. I think it's pretty cool. And my boy Tim Knox actually even has a course for dirt cheap. And he has some great video tutorials on how to put it together through, of all things, Microsoft Word. That just blows my mind. Blows my mind. I've never put together a cover with Microsoft Word, but it works. Derek Murphy does put out some good stuff. And I'm sorry, just if anybody remembers the particular link to this video, drop it here, especially if any of my moderators are around. Drop it on in there. Let me know about Super Chat. I'll be happy to donate. Yeah, literally, if you look at the chat right now that you're typing into, there is a $sign. And when you click on that $sign, it'll ask you if you want to make a donation of some sort. And then from there, like the payment options are available. I think it might have like PayPal, credit cards, whatever kind of stuff. YouTube handles all that stuff for me. So I really don't ever have to sweat it. But I'm not going to sit here and beg for donations or anything else like that. Once again, it's just something that opened up after my 1,000 subscribers. Had a call. Sorry, what did I miss? Nothing much, just me bloviating as usual. Hi, Dale. Mohammed, awesome. Hi, Dale. Having an email list is the best answer to have reviews. Yes. Email lists are great. This is something I learned from Steve Scott. And if you have not heard of Steve Scott, let me go ahead and get you out from underneath the rock. Steve Scott's probably one of the most successful self-publishers these days, and probably one of the most modest and humble guys you will ever meet. And I can't say enough great praise on Steve Scott. He's kind of my hero in self-publishing. And that's one of the things that he talks about is building a solid following and getting them, subscribed as, valued newsletter subscribers. So that way, when you get ready to launch a book, you're able to have some people who are ready, willing, and able to post reviews for your books. Now, once again, it comes down to be careful with the verbiage that you're communicating with them, because you just never know. Someone might get ticked off and rat you out or snitch you to Amazon. But I'm thinking if they're valued subscribers, they're probably not going to do that. So hopefully that helped you out, Mohammed. Have you checked out Emeka's course, and is it better than Big L? I don't know Big L's course. I think you're referring to Big Luca. I unfortunately, and I'm just going to be frank, I don't watch any of Big Luca's stuff. I watched probably about a half minute for it, and it just didn't seem like he spoke to what resonates with me. So nothing against him. I enjoy Stefan's stuff, but sometimes I think that he is a lot more broad when it comes to entrepreneurship. I focus a lot more on channels like Emeka's. I have not looked at Emeka's course, but I do have the intentions of eventually picking it up, because I try to get as much information as possible. And it's something that I learned from Russell Brunson of ClickFunnels. Russell will go, in order to become really good at his sales funnels, he would go through and funnel hack. And what I mean funnel hack is he would go in, opt into a list, and he'd go through the entire back end process. Everything from purchasing the one-time offers to the tripwires to the upsell and to the far back end, because he wanted to see everything that was within somebody's funnel itself. And so with that being said, I like to study other people. So is it out of the realm of possibilities for me to check out Emeka or Big Luca's or even K-Money Mastery? Not really. I would probably consider investing in something like that, but it's going to be a case of right now, I'm just so time strapped that I don't see getting it anytime soon. If there's anybody that actually has picked up my self-publishing blueprint, that's Emeka's course. drop your open thoughts inside the comments. I definitely would love to hear from you. And of course, Emeka would love to hear from you. And please, even though Emeka's my boy, I want you to be honest and let me know, did you like it? Did you dislike it? Why did you dislike it? And of course, more importantly, why did you like it? And did you get good results? Let's see here. All right, we're ready to rock and roll. We've been going for nearly an hour already, and we haven't even touched the book covers yet. So let me do this. As you guys are staring at me, I'm going to move on over here. I'm going to, let's see here. We're going to display share. All right, perfect. Hopefully you guys are seeing the my desktop here. It's a little bit messy. I haven't cleaned it up in a while. If you guys could do me a favor in the chat, can you see my desktop, my messy desktop? If you can, please leave that inside the comments right there. And I believe I need to go into self-pub scripts. Here we go. Yes. All right. So if you guys can just give me a little vote of confidence here, let me know inside the chat. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? Before I even go any further, I want to make sure everybody can see it. Hopefully everybody's still there. I haven't lost you guys. Guys and gals. Yes, excellent. Thank you, Kim here. I appreciate it. All right, it is time for us to take a look at some of the books that were actually contenders for my show, the now defunct Clapper Crap. And we're going to go ahead and open up these beauties. And this is the point, is I want to have some audience participation. So we're going to do a quick look at these 19 items. Wonderful. And I'm just going to go ahead and blow this up. Can you guys still see this? If you could still see this, great. I'm hoping you don't see a black screen. I'm hoping you don't see. Yes, you can still see. Okay, excellent. So here we go. Now, these are things that I found through just trolling about on Google. Literally, if you want to find bad book covers, literally all you got to do is Google search it. I had somebody who kind of said in a snidey tone, I believe, she asked, this was early on when I was doing these bad book covers, she said, did you spend all your time trolling about on Amazon to find these? No, I didn't. Actually, it's called a Google search. It's really, really, really super simple. So let's start this out with Officer Bob Morrissey. Second humorous beat, actual funny police stories. Yeah, these are real book covers here, folks. These are real book covers. What are your thoughts on this one here? I can say right now that I'm looking at the font itself, and I'm not sure if you guys can probably see my cursor here. The font is just atrocious, and I believe it's Comic Sans. And listen, folks, I'm just going to say this. I'm going to come out. I'm going to pick one side of the fence. I've been polite about Comic Sans before. And what's going on, S? I see you just jumped in here. It's good to see you. Comic Sans is just horrible. This font right here does not work for anything. Anything. Can you repeat the title of the KDP class? Yes, Blair. The name of it is called the Self-Publishing Blueprint. That's on Emeka's website. I can't see your screen. Uh-oh. Here we go. Maybe we lost it a little bit. Thank you for the heads up, Munchin King. I might have to. All right. Can you guys see it now? I'm going to check here. Okay. It looks like you can see it. I just want to, before we start going too far down, can't see the cover, only you. Interesting. There it is. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Kim. I apologize, guys. I'm getting some of this stuff ironed out here on the fly with OBS. It's fairly interesting. Good now. Excellent. So let's talk a little bit about the second humorous beat. Back to where you guys can probably understand what I'm talking about. You guys are probably going, what is he talking about? Comic Sans? I don't see anything. Dude, look down. LOL. You got me. You're a good one, Anthony. You're a comedian here. All right. So let's take a look at this. I need some open feedback on this one. Where did this person go wrong? I've already pointed out the Comic Sans font. That is just horrendous because let's just face it. Let's zoom out on this puppy here. So I'm just going to kind of shrink it down. Imagine trying to read this on a mobile device. Look how tiny that is. super hard to read. That's going to be one thing. So Comic Sans is too thin. Blair, I see what the, yeah, I know. It's pretty horrendous. So what do you think about this art? What do you think about the cover art? Because I'll say this right now, I didn't like the font. I don't like the font color choice. And to me, the artwork, and I could be wrong, maybe, just maybe, the person who put out this book was a kid. Now, I could be off. I could be wrong. What's going on with the police's hair, too? Man, that guy's got some long, freaking hair. LOL, all good. Yes, the font of this cover is bad. Yes, E.S. Hart, right on the money. I'm glad you agree with me on this. Comic Sans is just, it's not acceptable, folks. Don't put it on your cover unless you're purposely trying to, if you're purposely trying to mess up your sales, put Comic Sans on your front cover by all means. Just never use that specific type. Oh my gosh, that was so mean. I'm sorry. Font too small. Cover art looks like my 5-year-old niece made it in paint. Hey, no. I agree. This is really, it is. I'm sorry. And if anybody's watching this and you're the person, this is your thing, please take it with a grain of salt. I would say change your font. And if you're going to use, some kind of art, I'm sorry, this one right here is just not cutting the mustard. Now, if you happen to be a 5-year-old that put this out, then kudos to you. But if you happen to be someone like me who's a 41-year-old that has put this book out, then shame on you. Hire a better cover designer. All right. Officer Rapunzel. Artwork looks like the 70s. Yes, exactly. There we go. I don't like the art. Seems for young kids. Yes. This is a funny story. A good friend of mine put out an Easter book one time. The art was good enough, but the font was terrible, and part of it was cut off. I'll have to have him on one of the shows one of these times. But the stinking thing became a bestseller. So sometimes knowing your audience is half the battle. But I think even kids probably may not like that. In fact, any parents that are watching this, take a screen capture, share it with your kid, and without coaching them up, say, what do you think of this book? Would you read this? And have them say yes or no, and have them say why. The art can be offensive. What's funny? Too stereotypical. Let's see here. Let's go on. All right, here we go. We've got Amber Inferno. It's by, I see a word. I'm not really sure what that word is. It's by Jean Barak. Wow. So the very first thing I like to do whenever I'm looking at covers is I shrink it down. That way I can kind of give the person the benefit of the doubt. Okay, we're looking at this. It's cleaned up a little bit. It's less pixelated, and let's give them the benefit of the doubt because there's a good chance the site that I picked this particular cover up on might have had the image shrunk down, and when it blew up, unfortunately, it became pixelated. So, what are your thoughts on this cover? What are your thoughts? The font choice doesn't seem too terrible to me. What do you guys think about the font choice? What could be better about the font choice, or could we just keep it the same? The whole thing looks racist to me, Anthony. Yes, on the previous cover for sure, I agree. Picture doesn't match the title. Yeah, I'm not really sure the specific niche that this person's going for, because sometimes these outlandish covers really do work. The one thing that I would say that I see is there's a lot of cover art that has been done on some 3D computer art lately, and you could tell that the person probably took a lot of time and energy to put these type of images together, and I'm sure this would be great for a little project for yourself that you can kind of share with people. But unfortunately to me, it's got me confused. And the one thing that gets me confused too is it says Amber Inferno, and then you see Jean Barak at the same size font. I don't know which is the cover, which is the name of the book, and which is the author name. It becomes confusing. So it just really becomes washed out. And then look at the very top here. It has this weird discoloration from the rest of it. It like got darker right here, and then it gets lighter down here. So this right here, I just, there's not enough, kind words that can give to this person. I'm sure the interior may have been a lot better, but I would say go back to the well on this one. And I just would really strongly recommend that for this type of CGI, computer generated images, don't do it. It's just not good. It is not good. Keep things clean. Yes. Blurred faces. Yeah. Once again, the blurred faces might be coming down to the pixelation of this particular image, the site. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. But once again, if we were just to shrink it down to a thumbnail size, yeah, you can't really make out the faces. There's nothing really much to it, and it doesn't really communicate to me outside of, looks like Conan the Barbarian and his girlfriend, and they're riding a Pegasus, and that's all I'm getting from it. And it's so messy. It is so messy. Man, it looks like he has a hand on her crotch. Wow. Yes, too busy. Anthony, that's correct. Picture doesn't give a mood. Seems like a comic book. Is it a comic book? No. These are all just regular books. I'm assuming just from the cover that this is some kind of a fantasy book. But any event, this has been a while since I found this cover. I was doing this back in the days when I was doing the full. When I had this, the tie and the vest and everything else, and being really irreverent with my humor, but anymore I don't. But these are some of the book covers that did not make the cut. Very generic too. It's the horse's name, yes. CGI probably only works if you're writing video game stories. Yeah, that's true. The CGI really does. So anybody that's like, say for instance, writing like a Minecraft fan fiction, obviously pixelated images, the pixel type thing is the Minecraft thing. Now, I would not recommend jumping into Minecraft just for the fact that Minecraft is a trademark name. So that's not my endorsement of you guys should go out and start publishing in Minecraft. Next cover, here we go. Woo! Loving me some of this. Derek Calibre put out Can You Turn It Off? A Diary of Psychic Awakening. All right. I'm not going to say a word. I'm going to leave this up to the live chat, and then I'll give you my take on this particular cover. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts right out the gate? What sticks out to you as being good? I'd love to hear. What do you think's good about this? And what do you think is not so good? I could see, I really want to, very generic too. Yes, it makes me think of an old 1970s cover. And this might have sold in the 1970s, but it's really rough right now. Wow. I just love how people they get thrown off. Oh, we got more. We're going to peel through all of these. So we're going to probably go for at least the next, half hour or so on this. Cricket. The colors are bad and hard to read. Yes, bingo. So right now I see two different font types, and they're so different. And even then you have these two fonts are the same, but then they decided to make the title and a 3D graphic, but they left the author name that is the same type of font, but it wasn't three-dimensional. Either do three-dimensional all the way or don't do it at all, because it clashes. And then we go down to a Diary of a Psychic Awakening. It's just hanging out here. It's just, look at how we're reading the things. It's all out of balance. It seems just, even if we were to say, just pull this particular graphic and use just the fonts right here, it's a mess. And it's almost like my brain shuts off before I even get down to the picture. So with book covers like that, I just realized how much I have to offer to the publishing community. The frog looks like it was taken from Google Images. The frog's too much. I agree. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's something to be said, and I've shared this in picking up Google Images and free images and such, which any of you that have not done so already, you can go to selfpublishingwithdale.com/sign up, and you can sign up to my email newsletter. And actually, I give you a full list of about 10 to about a dozen different free image websites, and that's within the first, I think it's on day 10 that you get that, and you'll get that resource. But here, it comes with a little bit of an asterisk, a little bit of a disclaimer. Free images like this frog right here, okay, there are other people out there buying images of this frog, or downloading images of this frog and using it. So there's going to be a ton of people doing this. In order to really stand out, I'm imploring you, spend a little bit of money and get yourself some image licensing, something for royalty-free images. Now, this sounds like a shameless self-plug, or even a plug towards my affiliates. You can get it one way or the other. I don't care at this point. But Deposit Photos is running a deal through AppSumo. You get 100 images for $49 at right about 49 cents per image. That's not too bad at all. And normally you're having to invest a lot in Deposit Photos, but you can go to selfpublishingwithdale.com/DP. That deal, I think, is only going to be good for a matter of a couple of days. So if you happen to be watching this later on, you want to get a free account over Deposit Photos, just go over to selfpublishingwithdale.com/Deposit Photos. And if you don't want to give me any money or any kind of affiliate sales, just go to it anyways and get it, because I'm going to endorse it either way, because I like Deposit Photos. One of my favorite places. So I bet you how much this wolf right here that's blended into this, I think it's a man. I'm pretty sure it's a man. Probably Derek, I'm sure. They did a beautiful blending of this, but it's just, wow. It's just not doing anything for me. I don't know about you guys. Frogs in Space should be the title. Seriously, the Cosmos would have almost been enough, but now there's Morphing Wolfman and Judgmental Frog. I'm so confused. Yeah, he is. Look at those judging eyes. I mean, he's like, literally, he's like, whoa. Dude is half morphed into a wolfman. So, and this also brings into mind, I'm thinking about things like those werewolf shapeshifter romance books. So there is another thing. And I'm thinking with something like a Diary of a Psychic Awakening. Now, see, my mother's a lot into a lot of the holistic type psychic things and channeling and Reiki healing and stuff. And this cover misses the mark for that particular audience. This does not cater to that audience. So there are some covers that are appropriate for certain audiences, other ones that aren't. This one right here just immediately harkens werewolf shapeshifter romance. Just automatically, it just gets my brain going there. So, and they're also missing the abs. If we're gonna do a werewolf shapeshifter thing, let's get the abs in here. Psychic Frog Overlord travels through space with this wolf human hybrid sidekick. Kim, you slay me. This is, oh man, I need, like, seriously, I'm just gonna have to, get you to be moderator in this channel, because I want you here more often. All right, going forward. I don't think this was so much a bad book cover as I just love the picture, because don't put a cover that says, I think this comes down to what you put on a cover and having the image. Don't say dump and have a picture of a cute kid that has brown stuff surrounding her face. This kid's so damn cute. I'm sure this probably sells books. I don't remember my mindset on this one. I think possibly I was looking at the color choice. The picture's awesome, but Dump and Go Kids, 25 wicked awesome dump recipes for kids that take only 15 minutes or less to prepare. I would recommend that, if you're going to have something that's related to dump and go, having a child with brown stuff around her lips, bad photo choice. If anything, put a picture of one of the dump recipes that you're having on there with your kid smiling next to it or something. But this right here, not so good. And the DPI looks like it's 72 DPI. I would really recommend that if you use any images on a cover, try to get 300 DPI. Get it up there for resolution, so that way when it is shrunk down or blown up, it doesn't pixelate. See, we go a little smaller, it definitely looks a little cleaner. But when we start to blow it up a little larger, you can see it becomes a little more grainy. It looks like one of my old 3D, one of my green screen videos where it was super pixelated. Oh, I hope that's her own child, because that would be hilarious. Yes. They almost got it, but no. Yeah, exactly. I would say just, and please, what do you guys think? I think everybody agrees with me with the child with the brown stuff around the mouth. I'm really trying to be family friendly here, guys. So if you say something within the chat, please, by all means, open up. But Dump and Go Kids, I think the color is just, it's such a plain color and it doesn't command my attention. I would say they need to change it out. If anything, there is almost like this blue highlight around the pictures. They should have probably stuck with the blue and like the black highlighting for this particular area. It probably would have done it better favors. The other thing that causes the clashing too, if you notice, look at the background, like that pale brown background, and then you got this chair that she's sitting in, this plaid color, it clashes as well. So know that within your photo, that whatever your image that you're putting on here, it has to align with whatever you're doing for font choice as well as coloration. So I wouldn't give this an F, but I'm definitely not going to give it a C. So we're just going to kind of keep it at that. So meals needs to be in the main title. Otherwise, it sounds like the kid is dumping, or your book is how to for dumping your kid with the sitter. That's so true. That is so true. Dump and go meals. Dump and go kids. That's just, oh my gosh. Yeah, recipes should have been a focal point for sure, as opposed to kids. All right. Roger Welch is he's got a number of books out here, and I'm not going to necessarily harp on Roger. He had quite a few of these things, and I think he hangs his hat on the humor front of things. I just think it's hilarious. Everything I know about women I learned from a tractor, and I think that I didn't necessarily want to go bad on this one. And if there was anything that I would say is, I think that what ended up happening is this might not be in print anymore. Somebody scanned it and you can see it's just off base. So I'm not going to harp on this too much, but how could we have improved Roger's cover? If anybody can kind of contribute. I like the text. The text is kind of cool, and you can see he's going with the red, white, and blue theme. He's American. I love this title, but is this off center? Yeah, I think that someone scanned the paperback and it's just off center. So I don't know that this is Roger's fault necessarily. And I don't even know if Roger's with this world anymore. Attracts attention for sure. Where's the woman? Where's the tractor? Okay, this is where I think it gets interesting. Let me see if I go further forward. Nope, not there yet. Nope, I already spoiled it. Roger, we're going to come back around to Roger in just a second, because you guys will laugh. Between everything I know about women, I learned from a tractor, and he actually has another tractor book. And like I said, he hangs his hat on a humor, comedic satire type thing. So I need a tractor or a lady on the cover, or a lady driving a tractor. Too much to one side. Yeah. Oh my God. Why ain't he on the tractor? All right. So let's move forward here. Oh my goodness. Hall of the Mountain King. Here we go. CGI at its best. I think I was getting ready to put together a bad book covers based on graphic art, computer-generated images. This is bad. And I actually believe that Hall of the Mountain King has actually been cleaned up, and they have a better CGI graphic on it. This is a mess. Hardcore Uncut Edition. Wow. I don't know that I want hardcore. Maybe the uncut edition, but could we hold the hardcore? I'm thinking more, like possibly like, Cinemax late night softcore will be okay with me. You get to hardcore, I get a little uncomfortable. I don't want to make eye contact. That's really the big issue that I have here. And then we've got this little stamp here, Author's Definitive Edition. What? Pick an edition. Listen. Either you can be Hardcore Uncut Edition or Author's Definitive Edition. Don't be both of them. And here's the thing is, I would be curious as to know, do these actually sell? Would you be tempted to buy this outside of the guy that really needs to put some clothes on? Would you be tempted to buy this based on it being a Hardcore Uncut Edition or Author's Definitive Edition that you've got to kind of squint and figure out? Too many subtitles, 2 editions, and a tagline. Is that a Yeti? You tell me. Lord help me. I hate to see softcore. Totally kidding. Totally kidding. Neanderthal man. Yes, you got it. This is great. I mean, yeah. But I think since KR Columbus actually has cleaned up this cover, Hall of the Mountain King, and it's better. This is one of those things that, gosh, you hear it said so many times before, it's better done than perfect. But, gosh, this right here, no. Just give me a blank cover with your title on it. That probably would be better. The font that they're choosing here for KR Columbus and Hall of the Mountain King, unfortunately, it's just so washed out. I get what you're going with, and it looks better when you shrink it down, but it's just the Hall of the Mountain King right here. It just, something needs to be done a little bit better that will entice my buy. Stripped Deluxe Edition. Kim, you're killing me. Yes. Kim's awesome. I love her jokery. All right. Moving forward. Haunted by Maria Sava. Wow. I'm just going to unleash this one on you. It looks like we're going back to that same typewriter style font, but it's a little bit more, a little more saturated. Listen, I understand that some people love to do art. And art is so subjective, isn't it? I mean, there's probably some people that probably think this is a great picture. And then there's going to be some people, unfortunately, a greater majority that don't like the picture. And I'm sure from this author's standpoint, they're probably like, I like this picture, and anybody doesn't like it, I don't want them to be my reader. That is really short-sighted, especially if you've taken a lot of time and attention and energy into writing or producing great quality content inside here, and then you just slap on a cover with art that, oh man, I don't know. I'm just not digging it myself. So let's see what everybody else says. Shaking my head. Wow, people, really, this world's crazy. A hairy chest would have been enough. I don't need two hairy men, one of which is cut off. I like the author name in that font, but a different font for the title would have been better. Title needs to be bigger and the letters are too close together. Yes, bingo. But a cleaner sans serif would have been clearer. Yeah, absolutely. So I just realized that's an I. I thought it was a mirror at first. Colors not too cool. Yeah, it's too dark. It's too dark. That's going to be one thing, is it's way too dark. And I think that some of the actual colors within the picture are just way too saturated. It's too heavy. It's too thick. I'm not really sure if this is painted on or if it was done with some kind of, crayon. Not really sure what's going on here, but yeah, the letters are crowded together on the author name. So Maria Sava should have just kept her name off of here, because literally it creates a mess around this little I. I'm sure something like Haunted, it definitely it tells me what I'm probably in for here. Between the title and the slightly dark image, it tells me that this is probably good. But the one thing is, let's shrink it down. Pay attention to Haunted as I shrink it down. Notice what happens here. Haunted becomes blurred out with this bright white moon here, and it almost just kind of blurs in. Think about this. If you're a person who's just browsing the Amazon store and you're just going through all these different covers, and then this is just going to blur in. I'm probably going to go right back to Hall of the Mountain King and pay attention to this guy. Put on a shirt. We got to tell it. You know what? We need to go into GIMP, and I'm just going to drop a shirt on this guy. He just needs one. He looked cold. If not to at least cover up his chest hair, which, by the way, on a different note, I know my wife's listening out in the living room right now. She loves chest hair. Loves chest hair. Yeah, needs something at the bottom. It's naked. Yeah, I agree. Like, you could have probably taken this. You know what? Why don't we have a little bit of fun? Let's have a little bit of fun. I'm going to drag and drop this into GIMP. Now, let me know if you don't see GIMP open up. All right. Hopefully everybody sees GIMP here. So I'm just going to do some very basic things here in GIMP. I just dropped it here. I'm going to color pick that black background. The very first thing I'm going to do is we're going to zoom in. I'm going to go ahead, shift, come on in here, and I'm just going to go ahead and we're just going to color that out. That's probably a terrible way for me to do things, but I'm just going to do it anyways. I'm going to go ahead and color pick the eyeball, because we're going to keep the eyeball in place. It's a beautiful eyeball. And I'm saying that facetiously, by the way, folks. All right. GIMP looks good. Wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. So, all right, that sticks out just a little bit. So here's one thing we could have done is let's drag, and I think it was, the name was Maria Sava. So we're going to go ahead, Maria. Come on, Dale. Get with the program. S-A-V-V-A. All right. I'm going to select all. I'm going to come over here, which this is a great tutorial if you guys want to kind of learn along as I'm going along here. I'm going to try Babus New. We're going to see what that one looks like. I'm going to blow up the font just a little bit more. We're going to go 150, 140 maybe. Ooh, that's a little too large. We're going to go a little smaller, 50. Excellent. And I'm going to change the color here in just a moment here, folks. All right. We're going to go ahead and make it dynamic. I think I need to go just a bit smaller, and I might actually thicken up the font just a little bit. And Babus New Bold. All right. I'm just going to try white first because we're going to probably change it in just a moment. All right. Are we better or worse here, folks? I mean, take a look at that. How much can you read that name right now? Keep in mind, it's a fairly flat color, but we've already cleaned this up somewhat. It seems a lot more readable. I can see the name of the author. Now, the next thing would be, let's fix this haunted, and I'm gonna do the most appropriate thing, which is, let's go ahead. I'm gonna copy this layer. I'm gonna take that layer, and I'm gonna scoot it on up here. We're gonna select all, and I'm gonna type in haunted. All right. Let's go ahead and I'm just gonna make this white for right at the moment, just for illustration's sake, and we're gonna make this a little larger than the author name. Wonderful. All right, because there is a little bit of a mess in the background. Well, this is what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna alpha the selection. You're gonna love this one. We'll choose the layer right below it. We're gonna add a transparent layer. All right, I've got the transparent layer down here. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna fill it with some background color. Let's just go ahead and we're gonna do it with a little bit of black. And you're gonna see exactly what I'm doing here in just a moment. And then I'm gonna blur that layer. We're gonna go to Gaussian blur. All right, and I'm gonna blur this out so that way it just kind of makes it stand out from that picture. So already you could see, let's go ahead and zoom out. Look at that thumbnail. How much more readable is that? We could keep this, subjective art piece as a front cover, but at least the name alone commands our attention. Make the name yellow or orange. Good. That's the kind of feedback I love. A little bit of our audience participation. Oh, I don't want to save that. So we'll go for, let's try this. That might be too bright. Yeah, that's a little better. It's a little better. Nonetheless, what I'm trying to show is you could see just the smallest tweaks can make the biggest difference in a person's cover. So look at that. That's read on someone's mobile device versus what we saw before in this. That or that. Okay, we could talk all day about the artwork, but the bottom line is sometimes art is subjective. So the right font makes the painting work a little better. Oh, thank you very much. Yes, I'm not. It's, and we could sit here and keep tweaking the fonts, but I just wanted to kind of just take GIMP for just a minute and just kind of show you sometimes you can get away with these type of covers, and it's okay, but there are certain exceptions to the rule. Oh, here we go. So as you remember, we were mentioning Roger before. Why don't we just go ahead and open up on Roger right here. We're going to go ahead and have a quick look at the 19 items here. I'm going to go backwards, and we'll hit some of these in just a moment. So here we go. Good old Roger. Old tractors and the men who love them. I think that was the funny thing that it just had me rolling. And I was going to put this on my bad book covers only because it's just hilarious. He's giving advice based on tractors. So there's something to be said about Roger Welch's branding. He does a lot of humor about tractors and love and relationships and things like that. So I'm not going to take a crap on any of what Roger's doing. He probably really made a good living when he put these things out. All right, let's scroll forward. Let's hit a couple other ones. Oh my goodness. All right. Now I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to give you guys just a couple of minutes. Let me hear your feedback on this. Onio by Linnell Jepson. Tell me what you see outwardly wrong with this cover. What do you see wrong with this cover? What's up with the hairy dudes? I'm sorry, man. That's what it seems to be. The going trend is guys with hairy chests which it almost seems like somebody purposely went out of their way to make somebody with a jacked physique. This looks like actually like a hairy version of Seth Rollins from WWE. Cracks me up. Oh my gosh. Put a shirt on or shave it. Either way, please. And then how are they not freezing? Yes, exactly. And I just, the image definitely gets me thinking, but it's not thinking in the right direction. I'm kind of going, what happened? We have this very clear, high resolution image of this pretty woman down here, but then we have Blurface. He is the leader and chief of the tribe of hairy-chested men out in the Arctic tundra. It's the background's nice. He has hairy everything though. What does that mean? Onio, I don't know. And it's pretty cool. I mean, let's go ahead and let's zoom out on the font choices. Oh, come on, Dale, get with the program. Sorry about that, guys. Let me open that back up. Quick look. I just clicked off of there. Let's go back over to Onio. Oh yeah, you probably saw a few of the other ones. Might save that for another stream. Let's see here. So we've got this Onio one and we shrink it down. I dig the font. I do. I think it looks pretty cool. What are your thoughts on it? Remember, this is all subjective. My opinion is not fact by any stretch. So what do you think about the font? I dig it. I like it. I think it stands out. I think if they had anything to change on here, it would be the mismatch between one image and the next. Whoa. That guy still makes me think of Seth Rollins from WWE. I like the title font a lot, the coloring especially. Yeah. That one right there, A+. I really do dig it, and I like the layout itself looks great. I think that the layout for the image, though, you can tell that these are separate images. That image is probably some kind of stock footage because there's tire tracks in the background. So they must have come in a Jeep or something like that. But the thing that just has me kind of wondering is, what is this book about? Is this a science fiction book? Is this a romance book? Is this a werebear book? I don't know. And unfortunately, it leaves too many questions for me to stay long enough to entice my buy. So that guy, though, he makes me uncomfortable. You guys get a chance. You don't know WWE. Search it up right now. Go to WWE or search it up on Google. Look up Seth Rollins. Swear to you, this guy looks like him, except a blurry version of him. And that's the thing is, blurry images are not meant for covers. If you got a small image and you blow it up and it looks this blurry, don't put it on your cover. It looks terrible. She could have just been the focal point. They could have just kept her, removed him, and had this whole background, and it probably would have been more likely to entice a buy. So he has a different emotional feel than her. Yeah, she kind of has like this, I just got done eating, boy, am I full look. And he's got like I'm coming for you. That's a hairy dude. Yes, the consensus says that guy's hairy, man. And that actually looks like me when I don't keep up with shaving. Other than the top of the head. My goodness, I wish I had a beautiful mane like that. If it's for overseas and people understand the word, cool. If not, the font colors mean nothing. Yeah, that's true. I'm not really sure what's going on with Onio. So maybe, this is something relevant to this person's thing. I would be curious to find out if Linnell Jepson has a full brand that she, I'm assuming, has built on. And maybe there's where we will find out if Onio is something they can immediately identify with. So remember, we're just looking at book covers. I would like to, on future occasions, go into Amazon and actually troll about there and dig out some of the books and look at the covers as well as the book descriptions and the titles and the subtitles. So maybe his name is Onio, yeah, or maybe her name's Onio. Although I would think it'd be like Onia, kind of like the Spanish understanding of O and A, being O being masculine, A being feminine. But all right, let's get one more cover before I go back into our screen share. Wow. Okay, here we go. The last one, I'm just Here, let that one be embedded into your head for just a moment here, and I'm just going to move that over. We're moving on. Taxi Cab to the Stars. Once again, here we go. We've got somebody who did a painting. This one is a little cleaner. It looks a little wacky. It obviously shows a pregnant, expecting mother having some kind of a dream, and it shows a taxi cab in the sky. What are your thoughts on this cover? Do we go thumbs up or thumbs down? You got to pick one side or the other. Would you buy this? If so, why would you not buy this? And if not, I want to hear it as well. For me, it's once again, I think art is so subjective. And then when you're dealing with something that looks like it's hand painted or it might have been done by marker, it becomes very, very iffy. I hope my baby grows up to be an interstellar cab driver. Oh no, thumbs down. Thumbs down. Well, why thumbs down? Because to me, like I said, the artwork, unfortunately, I just think sometimes if you can get a painting on there that is just really pro level, that can speak volumes, like we're talking like the stuff that you used to see on the old Harlequin romance books, the stuff that had Fabio back in the day, where it was that was artwork that was very, very good, very clean, very crisp, and it didn't get me kind of going, well, I don't want to read that. I would actually stop and look at it. It's like a Molly Hatchet cover. The band, they used to have killer artwork. It would just make me stop and read it. But if they had artwork like this, I probably would have never paid attention to their stuff. Fifth Element copy. Good point. Yeah. This cover would get me to flip it over and read the description. There we go. And see, that's the most important thing. Because sometimes, and this is going to be in regards to Amazon, if somebody goes onto Amazon and they're searching up, I don't know, we'll just guess this book is comedy fiction. Okay, I'm just going to guess. And you put down humorous short stories. This comes up. Okay, we see Taxi Cab to Stars. And one of the things that Kim mentions is it's at least picture interest enough that you go, huh, and you click on their product information. You go to their product page. That right there is huge. If you can at least get somebody to go over and look at the book description, or for that matter, if you're in a store, to flip that book over and give it a read and say, what is this about? This one, once again, it all comes down to artwork on this one. So be very, very selective about the type of artwork that you're putting on your cover, because it can make or break your specific cover. Alrighty, let's see here. It's starting to get about 20 minutes till. I try not to run too long on you guys here. We're going to go back. There we go. We're back into the comforts of my office. And I really do appreciate you guys taking some time out of your day to come over here and chat with me. I want to kind of wrap things up a little bit and just say to you that your book cover can really make a huge difference. Huge difference. And I want you to tune in on this Friday at 6 p.m. for the interview that I have with James Ranson. He's a professional editor, and he's very experienced, done hundreds of projects with many best-selling authors, not just best-selling on Amazon. We're talking going over into the larger, more reputable ones like Wall Street Journal. James comes on there and he talks a little bit about this. We could really nail down, now I'm not saying what he did, we can really nail down a great book cover. That's awesome. But let's not lose sight about quality content within cover to cover. Because if you've got garbage in there, it doesn't matter what you do. Because you can polish a turd and you can make it all shiny and you can put some lipstick on that pig, but at the end of the day, it's still a pig or it's still a turd. So don't lose sight of the fact that, yeah, you can get yourself a killer cover, but in the same instance, if your interior is no good, then forget about it. All bets are off. You want a good long-term sustainable business? You need to make sure that you're following through with great elements of having an excellent title. You want to have a good subtitle in some instances, and most importantly, a nonfiction. You want to also focus on getting a good book cover that entices a person to go, You want to do it to where, kind of like what Kim said, where she said, it would it would get me to flip it over. That's really all you need, is just get your foot in the door and pick someone's interest enough that they want to read more about it. Now, if you get such a killer cover that someone just goes by right away, fantastic. I'll tell you this though, fair warning, I have actually had some great covers before on some books, and the problem was it was too good. For instance, I got a low star review. I had like a 1 star on one of my cardio books, and in the book description, it says specifically, this is a cardio workout for the recumbent bike, treadmill, and elliptical. The person posts inside the review, this is nothing but a book of cardio on cardio equipment. I don't want this. This is garbage. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. However, if you would have read the book description, you probably would have known it. So that's the funny thing, is they obviously got in the door for the title and the subtitle. They got in for the great cover, but sometimes a great cover, it can come back and bite you in the rear end if they're not paying attention to the book description. So just remember that. Get a good killer book description, and that can get you a long ways. So view is so much better now. Easier to change a cover than the content. Honestly, wouldn't it be worse if a few bought your book and the content was terrible than to have a hard time selling a good book with a bad cover? You know, that's well put. Wow, that is really great. That's the question. So let me read that aloud to anybody that might be just lurking and listening, and I would love to hear what you think. Kim says, honestly, wouldn't it be worse if a few bought your book and the content was terrible than to have a hard time selling a good book with a bad cover? Yikes. Man, I really believe that there's quite a few books that I put out that has been great, killer content, but I'll say that the sales were killed by an inferior book cover. Because once again, anytime that I'm putting out these bad book covers, I will admit to you openly right now, heck, look up Unlock Your Greater Life by Dale Roberts. Pull the L out. Look up Unlock Your Greater Life by Dale Roberts. Oh my gosh, the cover's atrocious. The photo was great, but unfortunately, in that context, it just looked terrible. And that was one of those instances where, honestly, I didn't know anything about publishing. I just wanted to release my very first book. Heck, I didn't even know anything about publishing to Kindle when I put that out. I did this over through Createspace. That was my first venture into self-publishing. So look that up. I know there's some people that probably are going to click thumbs down on this video. Trust me, I understand. You know, totally cool. Which, by the way, while I have a few of you in here, please hit that thumbs up or thumbs down. I would really appreciate any form of engagement, sharing this video, and of course, remember that we're going to be doing more of these live streams in the very all too near future. I'm going to slip over because I keep staring at myself. So in any event, get everything locked down. So it sucks not to sell, but it sucks worse to lose your credibility as a writer if the content isn't quality. Yeah. So true. Get a good editor, and once again, you're going to get a little bit of 411 from an experienced editor this Friday in the interview. It's a fantastic interview, and it's a little bit more of a casual setting. We went out into my dining room that I just recently kind of upgraded, and we sat down, we were able to kind of chat, and he breathed some great life, and he gave me some good information that kind of got me thinking. And I think that it's going to do the same thing for you. And rest assured, I know I'm very nonfiction centric whenever I'm speaking to the whole lot of you watching some of these things. Bear in mind, I'm still looking into fiction things, and there's a good reason why I'm starting to strike up conversation here with Kim here, because Kim is somebody who is experienced in the fiction realm, and I'd like to bring her expertise. And James was able to breathe life into that today, that you'll see on this Friday's thing. So at any rate, I'm going to start to wrap things up. That's why I jacked my prices up, to weed out those people somewhat. Awesome. One more time for the over 50s. Can you repeat the 5-day KDP course? You're talking about 5-day AMS course, the Amazon Marketing Services course. When we get disconnected here and this goes live again, I can be able to put the link, but you can simply search up this Dave Chesson's course. But it's the 5-day AMS course is what it's called. You can probably Google search it and it'll probably pull it up. The 5-day AMS course. And you can even look inside my YouTube video collection, and it's under my reviews. Yeah. So if you look into my review playlist, you'll actually see that's there. And I talk all about the 5-day AMS course. That's not the KDP course. It's an AMS course, and that's the Amazon Marketing Services course. It's how you can market your Kindle book on Amazon. I highly, highly recommend it. Check it out. It would be awesome if you went to the video and clicked on the affiliate link right there. In the event that you make any kind of purchases at kindlepreneur.com, a small percentage of that comes back to me. But nonetheless, I love Dave Chesson so much, and I'm a huge fan of his work, that even if you went to kindlepreneur.com, you'll be able to get the information that you need. So that's the 5-day AMS course. I also made a reference to my self-publishing blueprint, and that is with Emeka Osai. That actually is a self-publishing course. He talks a little bit more about outsourcing writers and hiring out. So if you are a writer, you'll get some great information, but also for those of you that aren't a writer, Emeka's got just a course for you. So definitely go over, check out Emeka Osai. That's EMEKA OSSAI. Go over to him on YouTube, check out my self-publishing blueprint, and he has a full, relatively inexpensive program. I gotta say that for the price point that he has it at, you're getting it at a steal compared to some of them. 4 reviews. Sorry, I'm not didn't catch you on that one, Anthony. My apologies. All right, so now as we wrap it up, I want to kind of share a few things here with you. The format, of course, as you know, has changed. Gone are the scripts. Thrown them out. Sunday Unscripted used to be the only thing that was unscripted lately, but I've discovered that I feel more comfortable in talking to every one of you in a free-flowing format. So future videos, that's starting even tomorrow, you're going to start to see no scripts. There's going to be some jump cuts. It's going to be a rough transition at first. I'll be playing with lighting and different elements to the videos, but for the most part, you guys aren't going to see the cartoon background anymore. You're not going to see the green screening. It's going to be a lot more relaxed, loose, a lot less in your face. Still the same high energy and irreverent humor that you've come to know me for. Thank you, Dale. Fun and informative class. Yeah, thank you. And actually, I'll tell you what is going to happen the next live stream, so don't go anywhere just yet, S. But any event, here is how the format goes. All right, I have daily uploads. Every Sunday is Sunday Unscripted. Unscripted, I'm going to focus strictly on questions and comments that a lot of you ask within the chat or within the videos, or even email me. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab one out of the bag and I'm going to sit down. I'm going to talk about that every Sunday. So Sunday Unscripted is what we're going to be doing every Sunday. Monday is Week in Review. I'm going to take all of the great information that's happened over the past week and I'm going to provide it to you. Yes, there's a lot of great information. Hopefully you did not miss out this past one. This last Monday, Week in Review, I talked about there being an issue over at Amazon. They had their Amazon Marketing Services dashboard as well as their Merch by Amazon dashboards really mess up. And I talk more about that in the Week in Review, as well as a conference that was over in Portugal recently. So tune in every Monday for the Week in Review. Tuesdays is what I call my Top Tuesday. That's where I'm going to pull out all stops. I'm going to give you guys my best, absolute best content. And the reason why I call it Top Tuesday is typically that's where I do the top 5 list or a top 6 or a top 10, things like that. Or I even just pull no stops, pull no punch, excuse me. I pull out all the stops, I should say, and I pull no punches. There we go. You can tell it's getting late for me. And that is every Top Tuesday. Wednesday is Wildcard Wednesday with the exception of today because it's going to be Wildcard Thursday tomorrow. Tomorrow's theme, I'm forgetting what I have on tap. And Thursdays, that's right, we're back to Thursdays next week. Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that is -4 GMT. You will be tuning in to see the next live stream, and we are going to go on to Amazon, and we're going to do a deeper dive on the critical elements to a book. All right, we're going to talk about the title and subtitle. We're going to talk about the cover, and we're going to look at the book description. And we're just going to troll about, and I'm going to actually open up incognito mode, and we're going to look at some books, and we're going to kind of analyze some of these things, some things that make for a winning cover, and some things that make for a winning book description and a winning title, and some things that don't quite work out, because we're going to find some pretty bad ones, and we're going to do a deeper dive into that. So it's going to be kind of like Bad Book Covers 2.0, but we're going to look at further expanding out on what are some of the metrics that I pay attention to when I start to delve into a particular niche, when I start to investigate those things. And also you're going to learn a little bit more about niche research and keyword research going into next week. So all that to say this is we're going to do a live Amazon book analysis. It's going to be a full book analysis. So if you've got a book that you would like analyzed, all right, remember, I'll keep it clean and I'll be nice to you and offer constructive criticism. Email it to me at dale@selfpublishingwithdale.com. Once again, that's dale@selfpublishingwithdale.com. Yay, trolling the Amazon. Exactly. And Fridays, always going to be an interview. I've got many great interviews on tap coming up. I cannot wait to share some of this. And every Saturday will be a review of a product. This Saturday, I'm going to review deposit photos. I just talked about deposit photos just earlier, but I'm going to tell you the pros and cons of deposit photos and getting images for your books and publications. All right, as we start to wrap things up, I'm going to make a little call to action, and that is, if you enjoyed today's video, click the thumbs up or hit that thumbs down. Either way, hit a thumb, pick a side. I'd really appreciate that. And if you enjoyed today's content, make sure that you share it with one other person who's into DIY publishing too. And until later, it's been Self-Publishing with Dale, and I'll catch you soon.